Code Black, Ward E. Hospitals are supposed to be places of healing. Bright lights, white walls, monitors beeping like mechanical hearts. But in every hospital there's a place they don't talk about. An abandoned wing, a sealed door, a hallway that's always colder than the rest. And sometimes, patients who were never discharged. My name is Ava Granger. I used to be a night nurse at St. Augustine Memorial, an old hospital in southern Pennsylvania. I worked there for almost 5 years. But the story I'm about to tell you happened in the winter of 2021. It was my last night on the job. The night we lost Ward E. It started like any other night. Snow was falling outside, blanketing the world in a suffocating hush. Inside the hospital, fluorescent lights buzzed. I was charting vitals when the intercom crackled to life. Code Black, Ward E. Everyone froze. There hadn't been a Code Black in over a decade. That code wasn't even part of current hospital protocol. It was decommissioned. But someone triggered it. Ward E was supposed to be sealed, closed permanently in 2006 after a chemical spill during a failed trial treatment for psychiatric patients. It was now just an empty wing, if you believed the official version. But the older staff told different stories. They said it was haunted, that sometimes the lights flickered in that wing for no reason, that someone or something still walked the halls of Ward E at night. A few nurses even quit after spending a single shift near that corridor. Most of us treated it like hospital folklore. Until that night. Security tried to reset the system, thinking it was a glitch. But the call came again. Code Black, Ward E, room 509. Immediate response required. The charge nurse on duty, Danvers, said it must have been a prank, but policy required a response. I was assigned to assist, along with Danvers, Dr. Charles Wren, and Leo, one of the night security guards. We gathered outside the steel security doors of Ward E. They hadn't been opened in years, rust curling along the hinges. Danvers tried his keycard. The doors opened. Behind them, only darkness. We stepped inside. The moment I crossed the threshold, I felt it. Pressure in the air, like we had walked underwater. The hallway lights flickered to life one by one. Not with the usual sterile white, but with a dim yellowed hue, like candles behind fogged glass. The air was thick with dust and something else, rot. Wheelchairs and gurneys lay abandoned, like everyone left in a hurry. Faded medical charts still hung on walls. A single overhead speaker crackled with old static, looping fragments of music that didn't belong to any station I'd ever heard. We moved cautiously toward room 509. The hallway grew colder with every step. We turned a corner and stopped. Room 509's door was open. Inside was a patient, a woman, facing the far wall, standing perfectly still. Her hospital gown was soaked through like she'd been in the rain. Her skin was pale gray. Dr. Wren stepped in. "Ma'am," he said. The woman turned. Her face was wrong. Mouth sewn shut. Eyes solid black. Her head twitched violently, like a puppet fighting its strings. She raised one hand, and the lights in the hallway exploded. Screams. Running. Panic. We fled down the hall, back toward the exit, but the security doors had vanished. The corridor stretched on endlessly now. Danvers banged against the wall, screaming for help. Leo tried his radio. Static. No signal. Then we heard it. Footsteps behind us. Soft. Bare feet slapping the tile. I turned and saw her again. The woman from room 509, standing at the far end. She wasn't walking. She was gliding. The walls around her shifted, bleeding black fluid like ink. The temperature dropped so low we could see our breath. Danvers snapped. He sprinted down a side hall. We never saw him again. We heard a single scream, then silence. Blank, underscore, blank. Dr. Wren remembered that Ward E had once been used for experimental psychiatric treatments, including a neural reprogramming trial designed to erase trauma. It was led by Dr. Elijah Mern, who vanished after the chemical spill that closed the ward. We found Mern's old office, a sealed room, its window painted black from the inside. Inside were shelves of VHS tapes labeled Patient 509. Dozens of them. We played one on an old hospital monitor. It showed a woman, the same one, strapped to a gurney, screaming silently. A nurse held up a card, stage 3, resistance high, vocal cords chemically severed. Then the screen turned to static. The next tape was just the hallway. Hours of footage, but near the end, the camera moved on its own. And a face pressed against the lens, mouth stitched shut. We pieced it together. The experiments were never shut down. They just buried the wing and the patients beneath paperwork and cement. But the procedures left something behind. A residual consciousness. Trapped. Fragmented. Ward E wasn't just haunted, it was alive with the memories of every patient it had broken. Room 509 was the eye, the center. And now it was open again. We had to find a way out. After hours of wandering, we found a service hatch behind a crumbling wall, an old maintenance tunnel. We crawled through, crawling toward the faint hum of light and electricity. Leo was behind me until he wasn't. I turned around, and he was gone. Only his flashlight remained, flickering in the dark like a dying firefly. I didn't stop. I kept crawling, even as the whispers grew louder. Names, screams, laughter. Finally, I emerged in the laundry room, covered in dust and blood. They said I suffered a psychotic break, that I was found alone, unconscious, near the old wing. They claimed Ward E was still sealed, that no one else went in with me. No security footage. No Dr. Wren, no Danvers, no Leo, no room 509. But every night since, I hear the intercom crackle in my dreams. Code black, room 509. And sometimes, when I pass hospitals late at night, I see a window, glowing dim yellow, and a face staring back. Mouth sewn shut, eyes like holes.